everyone, welcome back to Cincinnati Zoo Tales. I'm Jenna.
And I'm Mark. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to another episode. Jenna, we've got a great show lined up today. We've got a returning guest that we're really excited to have with us. We've got Andie Haugen, who is a trainer with our Cat Ambassador program, here to fill us in on all things cats, all things cheetahs. So thanks so much for taking the time to join us. Really
thanks for having me back. I'm excited.
Yeah, we clearly didn't do enough to scare you off last time.
No, not at all.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, I know it's your busy show season right now, so thanks for joining us. And you've had quite a few changes around the Cat Ambassador program lately, so we just wanted to fill guests in about that.
Definitely.
But can you tell us just a little bit about your job title and what you do here at the zoo?
Yeah, so I actually just celebrated my 8-year zooversary last week.
Yeah,
I know, crazy. I can't believe it.
8 years. That's a long time.
8 years. Yep. So pretty exciting. So yeah, I'm a senior trainer now in our Cat Ambassador program.
Oh, I'm sorry for misintroducing you then.
Fine.
Senior trainer. That's
you're fine.
I don't mean any disrespect.
It's totally fine. It's just all those years adding on, you know? I'm a senior now. So it's really great. I get to work with all of our ambassador animals. We hand raise them to be ambassadors in our program and do our awesome Cheetah Runs, and we have a host of other new animals. Since last time I was here, we've had a few new animals, including a little adorable porcupine, a bad-eared fox, and a few cheetah cubs since then. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe how long it's been. For us, it doesn't feel like that long. But we were thinking back, we checked, it was 2021.
Yep.
When we talked.
Yep. Lots of changes.
4 years. That's nuts.
So you guys have started your programs where people can come and watch cheetahs run, which is just something incredible that, is a rare thing to see.
Definitely.
Can you tell guests right now when they can see those runs in the shows?
Yeah. So we're doing our Cheetah Runs. Currently, we're doing them just at noon, Friday through Tuesday.
Okay.
So all the way up until we switch to our fall schedule after Memorial Day, and then it'll mostly just be on weekends. But yeah, so that's when we're doing them right now.
Friday through Tuesday at noon. That's
at
good
noon,
to know.
Yes.
How does it's been brutally hot here the last couple weeks. How does the heat affect you guys for your programs?
Yeah, I mean, we are trying to hydrate, us and the cheetahs, everyone included. So yeah, our cats always have access to water. We got some AC units in our building as well, so they can cool down before and after their runs.
Nice.
So that helps as well. But yeah, so that's why our runs are a little bit earlier in the day, so it's before it gets too hot out.
That makes sense, because I feel like in the past we've done them late afternoon, like 2 or 3 o'clock or something.
It just gets too hot. Yep.
I don't blame you. Keep the cats out of that.
I know a lot of people are probably wondering, the cheetahs are from Africa. What do you have to say about that when, we give our animals access at certain temperatures here? Do you guys have, a go-to standard that you don't run the cats, or is there a reason that, they're from Africa, they can't run in the heat?
Yeah, well, we always say, the cheetahs are... Our cheetahs are Cincinnati cheetahs, so they're acclimated to our heat here, so they do well, but they also do have their limits also. So we kind of judge it based on how the cheetahs look like they're feeling, just like with humans. We have signs if we're getting hot or overheated. Cheetahs do as well if they're panting, they're hot, open mouth breathing. We're not gonna ask them to run. That's too warm for them. So with the AC and stuff like that, it's helped a lot. And also they're only running for a really short period of time, doing it earlier. When it gets really, really hot, we don't want to have them overexert themselves. And in Africa, when they're hunting, they're usually during the early mornings and late afternoons as well, when it's a little cooler, so they're not really running in the heat of the day. So we kind of mimic that here.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're diurnal, right? They're typically just asleep at night and up during the day.
Yep.
Awesome. So I know that some people have probably heard or read about one of our cheetahs being injured, Kris. Can you tell everybody kind of what happened, and then we'll hopefully hear some awesome updates.
Yeah, definitely. So, Kris, it's actually her birthday today. She just celebrated her 6th birthday.
Shout out to Kris.
I know.
Happy
We had a little birthday party this morning. It was great. So Kris is one of our best running cats, one of our best ambassadors. Unfortunately, earlier this year in our running season, she fell unexpectedly during one of our runs, and it was not something any of us expected, and she fell while she was chasing after the lure, and she was just paralyzed from the waist down. So luckily we were able to respond really quickly to get to her. I actually went over to her and calmed her down while the rest of my team helped to clear out our area from guests so that we could kind of cater to Kris and get our vets over. They were there within minutes as well, so we were able to kind of act quickly. We were able to do some x-rays for her on site here, and we couldn't see anything that had happened. So then luckily we have a great relationship. Our vets are amazing with MedVet here in Cincinnati, and they were able to get her over to do a full body MRI to see, because we had a hunch that it might be neurological based on how she was acting after she fell. And so yeah, they were able to do a whole MRI on her spine, and they found that one of her vertebral discs had actually ruptured. And so what happened is that rupture, they kind of explained it like a jelly donut, basically. And so that donut kind of bursted, and it pressed on her spinal cord. And so that would cause her to have paralysis in her back legs. The good news was it didn't like rupture or hurt her spinal cord at all, so they didn't need to do surgery or anything. But they didn't know, what her prognosis was going to be long term, just kind of hoping that it would eventually heal itself.
Did they think that maybe it was like potentially bothering her before that, or do they think it was just like on the spot for no reason? It just
no, they don't. She never had any issues or anything beforehand. It just kind of happened.
Just like a freak accident, basically.
Yeah. They said it sometimes has happened in other like dog breeds, like greyhounds, sprinters, big runners. It happens sometimes in dachshunds with like long spines. Think about it. Cheetahs have really long, flexible spines. They actually are meant to like act like a spring, so when Kris is our fastest runner. She's running 70 miles an hour. Just stuff like that can happen. Just like anyone can hurt themselves unexpectedly. So yeah, there was no precursor or anything that we had any idea what was going on.
Yeah, I know you guys didn't see anything, but I just didn't know if they thought, maybe this is something that leads up to this sort of injury, or if it's just totally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a vet, so I'm not entirely sure. That would probably be more of a question for them and the neurologist who was the one who did it. So luckily I was able to go with them, so I got to talk to her and everything, which was super cool and nice. But yeah, so to my knowledge, no, but maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on like the whole history behind that. But what we knew there was nothing we could have done to, prevent it or anything. And it just happened, and we were just able to respond super, super quickly, which was really, really helpful, I think.
It is interesting though, because kind of like you mentioned, like they're moving at such high speeds. Like you see that with athletes sometimes too, like sports players, whatever. Yeah. You're just running so fast, putting extra strain on your body, and something just slips, something happens, and
yeah. So yeah, it was definitely not fun for any of us involved, but I'm very thankful to the zoo and MedVet and everyone for responding so quickly. We were able to get her back and kind of start doing supportive care for her. So like I mentioned, she was paralyzed from the waist down, so she couldn't get up. But we have such a great relationship with her. She was hand raised, and she's an ambassador cheetah, so she really allowed us to get in there to like move her when she couldn't move herself, give her medication. She was on like antibiotics and lots of stuff to kind of help with her pain and pain management. She was in good spirits. I mean, after she was out of anesthesia, she was up and purring and happy to see us and everything. So that was good.
What was the timeline like for when you started to see little movements or kind of something that gave you a little bit of hope?
I feel like it wasn't that long, because it's not really, this isn't something that's super common that's happened, so we weren't really sure what her prognosis was going to be, but after, I think it was like 9 or 10 days, we started seeing, because we put a camera on her as well, so we could kind of start to see, like watch her when we weren't there overnight and stuff. We would start to see like her tail flick a little bit, and then there was a few times we saw her like starting to move one of her back legs, and then within, I think it was right when she hit the 2-week mark, she just stood up.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we were like, oh my gosh. We were like, crying. It was fine. So yeah, that was super exciting and way sooner than we were like expecting, if anything, so that was amazing. And then yeah, so that was kind of what our focus was at first, was just making sure she was, staying healthy, getting her food, getting her meds, trying to see if she was going to regain any mobility. And then once she started doing that, we were able to slowly start increasing to do more and more stuff with her as she slowly started getting up and taking steps, so she could like go back outside and do stuff and like walk around our building and stuff like that. But those first 2 weeks were, they were a little rough. We had a lot of movies that we played for her and spent time with her and brushed her and all that kind of stuff, so that was good as well.
And for an injury like she had, there's not really much of a treatment plan, right? It's basically just make her feel as comfortable as possible. Make sure she's got everything taken care of. So that was kind of what the biggest thing was. One of the things we were worried about at the beginning was because she wasn't able to move. Cheetahs have such like taut, like very taut skin, and so we were worried about her getting kind of like sores, pressure sores basically on her hips from laying. So we were trying to like move her and stuff like that, but there's only so much we can do with a cheetah, especially we're not there 24/7. So what she was doing is she actually was able to move her front legs. So she would move her front legs to kind of move herself around, and she did end up getting a few hot spots on her sides. And so what was great though is we were able to go in there, and once she was starting to walk again, she wasn't putting as much weight on them, so they got a lot better. And then what we were able to do is clean those wounds every day. So we, she didn't have to go under anesthesia or anything. She just let us go in there and clean it and make sure. And then that's actually something we're kind of still dealing with to this day, because they're just hard wounds to heal. So we've kind of developed a lot of stuff with the vets to kind of have these bandage changes that we've done with. She's just got one on her right side that's really having a hard time healing. We've kind of figured out a way to have Kris let us do daily bandage changes. The vets are doing laser therapy on her as well, which is really cool to kind of help with the healing process as well. And so Kris has just been like such a trooper in having us let her do all this stuff to help her get better. So.
I can't believe she allows a bandage. Like most dogs would, like tear off a bandage if you had it on them. So.
Right. We have this cool contraption. Our head trainer, Alicia, she made like this thing where we put like her pan, and what we do is we give her frozen ice blocks of our bloodsicles basically. So we have her have that in the pan, so she stays standing. It's kind of hard to describe. So she stays standing, and then we have these doors. So her head is out the door on one side with one of the trainers giving her food. She's eating the ice block, and then on the inside is the vet with the laser therapy, someone else to help with the bandage change. And so like it takes like 5 to 10 minutes. So just having her stand still and do that, and like we kind of got it down to a process now, and Kris is just so great about it. So
bloodsickle's a great idea.
Bloodsickles are great. She loves them. She loves them.
That's a great idea. So at this point, what's her mobility like? Like how is she getting around?
So she's doing a lot better. So we actually were able to partner with MedVet again to have a physical therapist come out and recommend some exercises we do with her every day to kind of help regain her mobility and her strength in those back legs. So it's an interesting injury because it is a spinal injury, so we have to be careful. We don't want to push her too much and have her go too far, because she has to kind of rebuild that muscle and all that memory in there. So she's having some issues. Her tail isn't as mobile as it used to be, so we're not sure if she can flick like the bottom of it really well, but the top isn't quite. So if you see any videos and stuff, you might notice that. And her back legs sometimes she walks really great, sometimes she's a little slow or trips or stuff like that. So we have quite a few exercises that we're doing with her. We have something called cavaletti rails, which you might have seen like horses use, the people that are horseback riding, these little rails that they step over. So our maintenance team actually made some for her that we have. So we just have those in her house, and she can go over them if she wants to or not. And then she also does like some neck strengthening exercises where we'll have her turn her head side to side. And she does some balances where she'll balance on different beds that we have for her to some of them where she has like her front paws up and she's balancing, or some of them where it's like an uneven surface, so she can kind of slowly start to use her back hips to balance that as well. And then we're also, just wanting to make sure she's having an enriching and fulfilling life as well, because she used to, run all the time, go out in all of our yards and stuff like that. We can't let her go out in the yards unsupervised because we don't want her to like chase after a bunny or, just run and hurt herself or jump on a platform or something like that. So she does have to, when we walk her, we take her on walks out in our yards so she can get out and stuff. She just has to be on a leash just for now.
I was wondering, like, if you think, one, she knows her own limits? Like, would she stop herself? And is she in pain, or is it mostly just weakness? Has the physical therapist or a vet or anybody been able to like differentiate if it's like weakness?
Yeah, I think our
pain?
vets have done a great job of like managing her pain with the medication that she's on. So I don't think it's
paralyzed. You don't know if you actually if she's feeling pain, right?
Yeah, because like she's pretty good at letting us know like if she like when we're like doing bandage changes and stuff, like she will let us know if it's like hey, look back, or hey, what are you doing, or stuff like that. Or a big indicator is when they stop purring, right? Because she's always purring. And so, so she's not really given us any indication that she's in pain at all. It's more just I think the weakness and like regaining that, neurological connection, all that stuff. Spines are crazy, and it has a huge effect on the body. So the fact that she was walking within 2 weeks is really huge. Awesome.
Does the vet team have any sort of prognosis of like this may take 6 months, 8 months, a year, or is this just completely unknown?
It's mostly unknown. I think they've had some other cases that they've been able to kind of consult back on and compare and contrast, but each case is kind of its own thing, and it's pretty unique as well. There's not a lot of zoos that run cheetahs to begin with, let alone like have had something like this happen. So
there's not much data that you can look back
exactly.
Cheetah,
so we're not really sure. We're pretty sure she's not going to run again, like on our formal running system or anything like that. So we're just trying to make sure she can walk and have as much of a fulfilling life as she can with the mobility that she'll get. So we're just happy she's walking, honestly.
I honestly am so glad that she's walking and it's gone as well as it has, because I happened to be at the show that day, and it was absolutely horrifying to see. Like she was running perfectly fine and then she wasn't, and it was very sad and very hard to watch. And I thought for sure we were not going to, see any recovery from just the snippet
it was
that
so
I saw.
Scary,
So I'm so happy that she's walking and you guys are doing all the great physical also, like, I bet that physical therapist loved that opportunity. What a cool job,
It's actually a physical therapist that we had work with one of our cheetahs, Red, who had hip surgery as well. It's actually very different because his was kind of genetic and hers is like an accident. So it's interesting to see like the different kinds of physical therapy you're doing based on the different kinds of like recovery as well. But
for someone to know that for animals, like
what
to do,
So we're really excited. Kris is doing great with it. I think she's really smart too. She like picks up. Like, she's doing like circles and turns. She's like, oh yeah, I know what this is. So she picks up on it pretty quickly.
And we're so lucky to be at a zoo who can utilize those resources, right? Like
definitely.
Our vet team and their relationship with MedVet. Like I know we've taken tigers, we've taken all kinds of things to MedVet.
All the things. Yeah, we've had a few animals that have definitely benefited from that relationship, and our vets who are awesome. So we're very thankful for that. And they've been coming out this whole time. I don't even know how long it's been since her accident, doing all these changes, and we're like, oh, she did this today, and how about this? And can you look at this picture and everything? And they're just so great and respond and come check her out all the time. So it's been awesome.
We're fortunate, and kudos to your team. I can't imagine how much hard work and
it's been
time and
it's
tears
been a
and
busy it's been a busy time, and that's also part of the reason I think we've had people ask us like why our schedule for running is so different than it used to be. I mean, Kris was our best runner. She was in the prime of running as well, and so now we're down to only a few runners left in our program. So we kind of had to modify our running schedule this year. That's why we're only doing our runs at the noon encounters. We are still doing 10:30 encounters with a bunch of our other cool animals that we have, and there will be a cheetah. They're just not running. So that's kind of also part of the reason. So we definitely appreciate people's like understanding and all that kind of stuff, because everybody loves to see the cheetahs run, but unfortunately, that put a wrench in our plans this summer. But we're just happy everybody's super supportive and here for Kris and our team, so we've really appreciated it.
Yeah, so can you tell us which adult cheetahs you do have that are running still, and then give us an update on the cubs?
Yeah, so our running cheetahs right now, we have Rosie. She's currently our youngest runner. She's 3. She's fun and always fun to see running. And then we have Catherine, who is one of our oldest runners. She's 9. So those are our 2 like reliable ones right now. Okay. So that's pretty much all we have, except for we do have 2 other 9-year-olds, Donnie and Willow, who will sometimes run if they feel like it. So we actually did run Willow today, and she did great. So that is awesome. And Donnie, male cheetahs just aren't as motivated as the females are, which is fine.
They're pretty lazy, aren't they?
Yes, he much rather would be out there like sniffing stuff and scent marking and all of that. We're lucky he's still running and that he's 9 though. So yeah, most of our male cheetahs will start kind of self-retiring themselves before 9. So it's great.
What a life.
When he does run, it's really fun and entertaining, but he's not as reliable on a day-to-day basis as our more seasoned female athletes. And then, so yeah, that's, we have our 3 new cheetah cubs, which are all 3 girls, which is awesome because our girl cheetahs are awesome runners. But they are still too little to be part of our running program because they just turned 8 months old. So they're still pretty little. They don't reach full growth until they're about 2 years of age. And so we won't start formally running them until they get a bit bigger. We might do some smaller runs this fall, just kind of getting them used to it and stuff like that. But they won't be running in our encounters until next year. But what's great is since we do have them, we've actually moved them to our cheetah habitat, which is down across from Base Camp Cafe, and getting them out twice a day basically so everybody can come see them, which is super fun and they're adorable. So we have that every day at 2:30. You can come see them there from 2:30 to 3 p.m. and then Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays you can also see them at 10:30. So,
I learned something new the other day that we brought some live fish for your cheetahs.
Oh,
to have
did
some
you?
enrichment.
Nice.
And we were able to have the privilege to go behind the scenes and watch them a little bit. And I was like, I just don't understand why we don't have them out all the time. Like, what it can hold an adult cheetah. Like,
right.
Why don't you have the cubs? And Val explained to us that, cubs can climb because of something going on with their wrists that maybe you can explain better than I can. But they climb more vertically than adults. Is this correct?
I don't know about their wrists. I do know that they're more curious and adventurous in climbing and testing their limits than the adults are. Yeah, we do have our young ones that they always have to be supervised when they're out in our exhibit space because they are climbers. There's a squirrel nest in one of our trees that Lulu is determined to get up to. Today, I was doing the chat this morning and I had to be like, Lulu, get down from the tree. They can't climb really great, so they're not built for that. They don't have a lot of upper body strength like leopards or tigers or stuff. Even lions are way stronger than cheetahs are. They're pretty weak. So they can't really climb super high. They can only jump about 6 feet in the air once they're full grown as well. So it's not something we have to worry about like long term. I think it's just the cubs are just more curious and adventurous in terms of testing things out and seeing where they can climb or where they can fall and all that kind of stuff as well. Like when we first put them in the cheetah habitat as well, they had the huge big, water, the moat there that they had never seen water like that, and they're let's go swimming. And we're like, okay, cheetahs are also not great swimmers, but they can swim, so they're not great climbers, but they can climb. So
all kinds of stuff to keep an eye on out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it just you'll kind of watch their behaviors and decide when they could be out there unsupervised, or is it like an age? Or
it's kind of based on their behaviors and stuff like that. And one of the great things about that space actually is it is much more suited to young cheetah cubs. We oftentimes have tried to have our cheetah cubs for the people to come see up in our big running yard, which is, the size of a football field, but it's very big and open. And cheetah cubs by nature are like very skittish. They have to be in Africa to survive because there's only about a 10% survivability of cubs. So they got to be super weary of everything. And so our cheetah cubs just kind of get a little overwhelmed sometimes in that yard. And they can see for up to 3 miles in like perfect detail. So they can see so far in that yard. So it's kind of hard to have our cubs out there for, guests that are, we can fit up to like 700 people there. So that's like kind of overwhelming for young little cubs. So we decided to try them in our habitat, which is great because it's like almost completely surrounded by trees. But then you have that big moat and then the guests are kind of up higher as well. So like the cubs know where everybody is. It's nice and safe and enclosed, and they just are super confident and happy there. So that's why we're able to get them out a lot more, which is nice.
It's a fun time to see them running and playing. And, I don't think you've mentioned. Will you tell us all of their names and just like a little bit about their personality?
Yeah. So we have the 3 of them. Lulu is the smallest. Her name means pearl in Swahili, so I think that's kind of fitting. She's the one trying to chase the squirrels. But she's very sweet, and she's always been sweet ever since she was really little. And then we have Kiara. Her name means princess, which we also think is very fitting. She's very quick to learn new behaviors, so we are training them to do certain medical procedures, like they all voluntarily got their rabies vaccines when they were only a couple months old, which was really great. And we also are training them to, go on walks and starting to do programs, and Kiara's always like the first to do it. She's just very smart and bright. And then we have Zola, who's the biggest. Her name means tranquil, which we all think is hilarious because she's not tranquil at all. She chooses chaos always, which is really fun. So she's always keeping you on your toes. But
there's always got to be one of those.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, but she's so sweet. She's so fun. I really, really love all three of them. But they're really kind of growing into their personalities at this point. They're 8 months old now and just about 45 pounds. They're going to still double in size before they're full grown, which is kind of crazy.
Really quickly.
I know, they are.
What's this experience been like for your team? Because I think the last couple times you've raised cubs, you've usually raised a single cub with an ambassador dog, right?
Yeah.
So like this time you've got 3 sisters.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been chaos. I'm sure it's been madness.
Yes.
How's it been for you guys?
It's been fun. Because I was saying last time I was on the podcast, I had Remus, who was Chris's cheetah companion dog. All the dogs retired last year, which was sad, but they're all in great homes right now with the zoo staff. So it's been different having a whole coalition, a group of cheetahs together growing. It's been fun. I mean, it's been more work for sure, but it's also kind of not been because they kind of all play together and they get all their energy out as well. And you're putting all this effort into building these relationships with the cats, and we've had such a great team that's been able to really step up, and everybody's working hard and getting them out and socializing them, and they've just become great. They're super resilient. Like, they're not really scared of anything. They're just bold and happy and love seeing people and playing, and that's all you can ask for. So yeah.
Super fun to see them play with like their favorite stuffed animal, like a soccer ball.
They love it. They love it.
Definitely. Are they what's the plan for them like in the future? Will the 3 of them stick together as a group? Will they be separated at some point?
Yeah, so it's kind of up to whatever they decide, honestly. So all the cheetahs that are part of our ambassador program, their whole lives, they'll be here at the zoo with us. So they'll all stay here, and they have the choice to stay together if they want to. Typically, female cheetahs are solitary, so they'll prefer to go on their own in their native range to, maintain territories, breed, hunt, all that good stuff. But in zoos, when, they have all their stuff provided for, they sometimes will decide to stay together. Like Catherine and Willow, who I was talking about earlier, they're sisters that are 9 years old, and they are still together. So the only time that they're separated is if they're like doing training or eating or running in our encounters as well. So that my guess is the girls will probably be the same, where they'll stay together their whole lives. But if they choose not to, it would probably be Kiara. She's a little more independent. We could.
You guys already have an eye on her.
Oh yeah. She's been like that from the beginning. But I think they'll stay together. Yeah, but that's totally up to them if they decide what they want to do. So yeah.
That would be fun to have a big group of 3.
Yeah, I know. It is fun. And it's fun to see all 3 of them now, just all together, and they try to, we have the same size bed that they've been laying on, and then they keep getting bigger, and it looks like the bed's getting smaller, and you're like, oh wait, no, they're just huge.
You need a time lapse of that.
Yes, I do.
Oh man. Well, is there anything regarding the show that you either want to update us on or that we haven't touched on, or maybe like
I think we have some new additions to our encounter this year, which is we have Violet, who's our African crested porcupine. She's 1.5 years old. She's adorable. She's part of our shows. And then we also have our newest addition this year is our bat-eared fox, Kalahari. He's 1 year old as well, so he's been coming out, and it's really fun to see him.
What does he do?
He just comes out and he does some behaviors for everybody to see, and like he just sprints out and he sprints home, and it's so cute, and he sticks his little tail up and he like skitters side to side. He just gets so excited. So yeah, it's really fun to see. And then we have we actually have like a lot of very young animals like Cal and Violet, and then we have a lot of very old animals like our Red River Hogs for Francis Bacon. He's 16 now, and then
he's a legend.
Yeah, he is a legend. He is a legend. And then we have our servals, Cleo and Jumbo, who are 18. So we have had to modify some stuff in our encounters because they are getting older, but they still really want to like like do it. They love coming out and doing stuff, so we have to do stuff to actually slow them down. We're like, okay, I know you're excited, but let's take a step back.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's always fun to see. So yeah, and then obviously the runs are a highlight, but you never know who you're gonna see. It's really, you never know, and like each cat is different. Each cat runs differently. You know, I've been doing this for 8 years now, and it's still one of my favorite parts of my job is running the cheetahs. So,
Yeah, that would never get old,
it never
right?
gets old.
I gotta get up there and see the program because I haven't seen it since Cal's been in it.
Oh my gosh, he just did it this
out.
morning. He was great. Yeah, he was running out there with his giant ears and fluffy tail. It's adorable.
Man, I gotta
to
get up
make
there
a
and check it
field
out.
trip.
I know.
All right, do we have trivia today?
Say, Andy, I do have trivia.
All right.
If you're up for it.
I'm up for it.
This is all cheetah related.
Oh
trivia.
man, you put me on the spot.
So the first question I have for you, you actually answered in the middle of our talk. So Jenna, see how closely you were listening to this
Oh
one.
boy.
We've got 3 cubs right now, so that's super exciting. All 3 of them are healthy and happy. In the wild, that probably would not be the case. Cheetah mortality is pretty high. What is the mortality rate for cubs in the wild?
90% because she said survivability is 10%.
There we go.
I can do a little bit of math once
Active
in a while.
listener, we love it.
There we go. You got it. You're spot on. Yeah, cheetah cub mortality is about 90%, which is insane to think. You know, I've always heard that's one of the reasons that they have such big litters. You know,
Yep.
you'll see litters up to 5 or 6 even.
Is it mostly lions or who are their predators?
Anything. Honestly, they're
Okay.
so defenseless when they're born. You know, they're like the size of a guinea pig, right?
Okay.
So and they can't do anything. Their eyes are closed. They're just defenseless, and so they actually kind of have a few adaptations to help them. They don't have a lot. This is all they kind of got is they look like honey badgers. So they have, when they're younger, they have like a white stripe on their back, and their sides are really dark. We think it's to mimic honey badgers because they're pretty ferocious little
would make
animals, and so
sense.
sometimes other animals will see them and be like, oh, I'm not gonna mess with a honey badger. So there's that, and then they also make a chirping sound that sounds just like a bird, and that is so that they can call to their moms and each other with a chirp, and hopefully that doesn't draw attention to, oh, this is a small defenseless animal, it's just a bird flying around. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how much it sounds like a bird. When we'll have some people sometimes, like if we're out training one of the cubs and the other ones will chirp, and then we're like, can you hear that? That's a cheetah. They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yep, that's a cheetah.
That's so cool. You guys
Yeah.
are able to see that on habitat.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
visitors can experience it too.
Yep.
That's exciting. All right, 1 for 1 so far. Next question I've got for you. What is a cheetah's gestation period? So once mama is pregnant, how long is it going to take for the babies to come?
Do you want to guess?
I
or
can
do you want me to
guess.
say?
I guess 77 days.
Oh, pretty close.
You're really close.
90.
90 days,
Oh,
yeah, right
yeah,
around 90 days.
yeah.
Which I always think this about a lot of, like, just cats in general.
Yeah.
Gestation's so short.
Yeah,
Like 3
super
months
short.
and these babies are coming.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
it's ready or not.
Yep. Pretty fast.
That's crazy. So, and then another question for you. 2 for 2 so far. Next question for you. You just mentioned that when the cubs are born, they have this white stripe that goes from their head to the base of their tail.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of the fur that runs from the head to the tail?
Do you want to guess?
Is it a mantle?
Yeah.
Mantle, let's
Nice,
go.
nice.
Let's go. 3 for 3. What about our girls? Can you still see their mantle?
No, they had it for a while, but it faded kind of quickly. And there's actually kind of a theory that we have as to why our cheetahs' mantles fade a lot quicker. So part of is that we think that so the mantle's like a defense mechanism, right? It's some way that they can kind of prevent other animals from messing with them. But if you think about it, when they're out in Africa, there's like a lot of stressors, right? They're trying not to get eaten pretty much all the time. And so a lot of stress oftentimes means a high cortisol level. And so there's a theory out there that the high cortisol is actually what keeps the mantle for a longer period of time.
Oh, interesting.
So we find that our cheetahs, especially the ones that are hand-raised in our ambassador programs, they lose their mantle pretty quickly. We think it's because they're not stressed and they don't have a reason to have that mantle, so it fades a lot quicker.
So
that would make
interesting.
sense.
I know, yeah.
Let's be honest, our cheetahs here haven't made it compared to their wild counterparts. They're living the good life. Their biggest concern is if they can get the squirrel out of that tree.
And they're like, I am determined, and okay, where's my food now?
That's awesome. 3 for 3 here. Last question I have for you. One of my favorite Cheetahs is the mascot of a snack brand.
Oh, man.
What is the name of the Cheetos mascot?
Oh, I do know this. Do you know that one?
No.
Chester.
Chester.
Oh.
Chester Cheetah. Yeah.
We do not have a cheetah named Chester, though, unfortunately.
No. Next time.
Next time around.
Next time.
If that breeding opportunity comes in, I want in on that.
I know, right? Yeah. Cheetahs are great. The flaming hot ones are even better.
4 for 4. I'm impressed. You guys knocked it out of the park today. Jenna, you were on top of it with your listening today.
Yeah.
You snagged a couple of those.
Well, because you didn't ask me history questions.
That's true.
Oh, man.
My animal knowledge is a little bit average.
Oh, there you go.
Next time around, I'll come in with some history
Usually
stuff
he
for you.
asks me
Well, if you come to
timelines
the Cheetah Encounter, it's kind of a history show, too, because we're celebrating our 150 years. So we have some
Very
fun
true.
zoo history facts in there sprinkled in. So, yeah, there you
we're
go.
making a field trip. I gotta get up there and see it. I gotta get up there and see it.
Friday? We should go Friday. That was a
I'm in.
question.
You don't need to tempt me. I'm in.
Okay.
Well, do we have anything else for Andie while we have her?
I have my final question.
right.
What can I do?
All right. Well, I'm sure everybody is relating to the crazy heat we have here in Cincinnati these days. So, we were talking earlier about how our cats are helping to stay cool. There's a lot of different ways that cheetahs do that. Actually, their spots are a way that they stay cool as well. So their spots are those black polka dots, and the fur on those spots is a little bit longer than their undercoats. And the theory is that fur, since it's black, it helps to absorb the sun's rays. It kind of helps keep the heat off of their skin to help them stay
Incredible.
cool, kind of more
That's
insulating against the
fascinating,
heat. So similar mindset for yourself and your house at home. If you want to keep it nice and cool, just like the cheetahs keep their skin nice and cool, is kind of try to have some kind of barrier there. It's not only good for keeping your house cooler, but it's better for the environment if we're not using our air conditioning as much. So if you can kind of get some barriers to help cover your windows with the sun can let in a lot of heat. Just even that sunlight lets in a lot of sun. So if you can just get some dark window, you can even put blankets up if you want, as well to help prevent that sun from coming in, then your AC is not going to have to work as hard to cool down just from that ambient sun that's coming in. Also, trying to make sure your doors, you have, there's not air leaking through your doors, your windows, stuff like that, can actually make a really big difference, not only just for your energy bill, but for the environment as well. So we're not using as much AC and trying to keep up with this crazy heat we're having this summer.
That's a really good one, and I love how well you tied it in. And the black spots being raised, that's something I learned today.
I know, yeah.
That's a great one. That's really easy. I know we've talked on the past in the show about, maybe you just turn your thermostat up a couple degrees during the summer so your AC is not working as hard, but this is the way you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
You just block out the sun, keep it nice and cool in your house, apartment, whatever it may be.
It really makes a difference. I can attest.
That's awesome. Well, Andie, we really appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah.
It's been a fun show. We've loved getting all the updates.
Fun.
I know, especially about Kris. I'm so glad to hear that she's slowly and steadily getting better.
Yes, she is. So yes, thank you everyone for all your well wishes. We've loved reading all the comments and all the supports from everybody online and everything. So it really means a lot. And thanks for asking about her and getting updates.
Definitely. And just one last time, will you remind our listeners if they want to attend a cheetah program, what time that is, and then when they can see the cubs? Because that's a separate.
It is separate.
Event.
Okay, so we have. It's kind of complicated. It's on our website, so always check the zoo today when you come to the zoo, just to be sure. But Fridays through Tuesdays, every day at 12 is a Cheetah Run. And then on the weekends at 10:30, we do what's called African animal encounter, where basically we have a bunch of our other animals like Cal and Violet coming out and do some behaviors, and we will have a cheetah, but they're just not running. And then during every day of the week, our cheetah cubs will be out from 2:30 to 3 p.m., but Monday, Tuesday, and Friday they will also be out at 10:30.
Okay. 2:30's
2:30 every day for the cheetah cubs.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And that's right across from Base Camp Cafe.
That it is. Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, hopefully you all can get out here and see the cubs. Hopefully you can get out there and see a cheetah run, because it's, like Andie said,
never gets old.
Never gets old.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Thanks, guys.
Of course.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Stay cool.